Visible. Hello everyone. Myself Dhruvika Dhamilya. My topic is globalization, definition, process, and concept of globalization. Definition of globalization. The term globalization comes from English as a base of word globalization, which refers to the emerging and international network belonging to an economical and social system. One of the earliest use of the term globalization as a known was in 1930 in a publication entitled Towards New Education to designate an overview of the human experience in education. As Larissa mentioned in her article, the near-term giant corporation was used in 1897 by Charles Russell to describe the big national trust and other large enterprise of that time. Since 1960, both terms began to be used interchangeably by economic and researcher in social science and were used until about mid 1980. Roland, a professor of sociology at the University of Aberdeen, was the first person who defined globalization as the understanding of the world and the increased perception of the world as a whole. Globalization can be linked to the local, the national, and the regional state. On the one hand, a connection is made between social and economic relationship and network organized on local and national level. It connects social and economic relationship and network crystallized on a wider scale that a regional and global interaction. MBA Market News defined globalization as a globalization referred to the process which companies start operating internationally and develop influence across border. In fact, people use the term so commonly today that it has taken on some additional meanings. Often people see globalization as an undesirable and even evil consequence of business expanding and becoming giant multinational. The term describes the tendency towards international investment, trade, and information technology. It also refers to the outsourcing of manufacturing across border. Additionally, the term refers to companies relocating their production plant in different countries. Characteristic of globalization, relocation and over territory, speed and power of technological innovation and the increase of the respective risk, global growth of multinational corporation, how the forming movement of global free market lead to instability and division. These are the characteristics according to Sandhu Cutrella, but other characteristics like accessibility, terrorism, free trade, culture, capitalism, monopoly power, environment. There are many such characteristics of globalization. Types of globalization. There are mainly seven types of globalization: technological, financial, economic, political, cultural, ecological, and social. In technological, we can refer the idea of change in technology entire world, that we are using the technology of America and America using technology of another nation. Financially, like in Indian people can go outside of India and earn money in financial stable. Politically, like in Indian people are now becoming politician in other country and became the member of parliament. Cultural globalization, changing of the culture. Sociological, in the sense that if another in foreign something happen, it definitely make effect on the Indian also. Key aspect of globalization. Globalization is a term of connectivity across the entire world of increased economic and cultural life throughout the century. The communication and exchange rate, complexity, and size of network involved. The volume of trade, the interaction, the risk givers reinforce to the label globalization. With the increase of economic interconnection, the political change have dependent the poorer become poor, peripheral country became more dependent on the central economy. As the globalization increase in day by day, the country which are poor became dependent on the country which are financially stable and more developed in the business or economy. We have seen the growth and the globalization of brand. It is not just large corporation operating in several different countries. They also have developed and brought out on the market product that can be sold packing as well as in Washington also. Brands like a Coca-Cola is not only limited to their country, but it also spread in worldwide. Geo, like Geo is now ruling entire world. There are Geo can beat the to beat many other cards and many other company also. Like for coming at the Geo came with the scheme, and now it is ruling on entire world. Vodafone and idea how to be merged in a way to beat a Geo. Cons- Contemporary globalization. The globalization involves spreading of idea, practice, and technology, and it is little more than internationalism and universalization. It is not simply the modernization or westernization. It is much more than market liberalization. The globalization has a five vectors that act on human society. Vectors like a political vector, military, social, religious, and economic. As Sandhu mentioned that Will Hutton and Anthony Giddens says that globalization is the interaction of extraordinary technology innovation combined with a global influence which give today's changing its complexity. Globalization is something which give development in a certain way. The decline of power of national government. Globalization is increasing because of the declination of government. As we know that whenever any company establish or start, they work on a policy of government. But as time come and it became developed and increase in their power, government has to follow their policy and terms. Coinleys point out that the impact of globalization is, however, a strong argument, and that is the most felt by the extent of which policy everywhere are now established market driven. It means not only that government can manage national economy, but also that in order to survive in their office, they have to increase their ability to drive national policy in a such a way as to be adapt to the pressure of transnational market forces. Anthony Gray has noticed that the global market doesn't allow corporation to assume the past function of the sovereign state. Actually, both one and the other become more and more weakened and overthrown. While multinational have played a significant role in the growth of globalization, it is important not to exaggerate the degree of control they have on the dynamic of globalization. As we know that when company established, they have work according to policy of government, but as time pass, they become that much in power that government has to follow their policy, otherwise the situation or the space of politics can be changed by the company. Globalization and its impact on people. Globalization is have a positive and negative both the aspect. Hilal Vani write in an article that globalization is associated with a rapid and significant human change. The movement of people from rural to urban areas have and the growth of cities in the developing world, especially in link to substandard living for many. Family disruption and social and domestic violence are increasing. For example, in 2004, New Delhi policy reports that indicate that death in the city of about 6 women every day for the dowry related suicide. Concept of national identity and of family job and tradition are changing rapidly and significantly. There is a concern that competitiveness introduced by globalization is leading to more individualistic society. On the other hand, rapid difference in religion and culture. The nation state is losing influence relative to global economy. As globalization is developed, nation loses their impact on the people and society. So crime and everything is increasing with the increasing of the globalization. We can connect with today. I have mentioned some example of once upon a time McDonald only exists in USA and SSBC only existed in UK, but now McDonald is in entire world. It became globalized economy. In India, when Doordarshan was the only available network from the late 1950, the motto of Doordarshan is to spread humanity and to make entertainment of the people, like showing they show like Hum Log, Bunyad, Ramayana, Mahabharat, among other. During 1980, contributed to the ideological conflagration of diverse meaning of publicness with a state-sponsored definition of national community and ideal citizenship. As the time passed, the company are arise and make their own channel in which they show and give advertisement and produce the show. There is a not only motto of entertainment, but the motto is the income and financial perfect perspective. Beginning in the early 90s, Doordarshan hegemony over definition of the public in Indian television was dramatically disputed by the rise of commercial satellite channel. Is the first in English and Hindi, and later in several other Indian languages. Other example are the Olympics began in ancient Greek and continue today also is going, but now the perspective of Olympic is different. FIFA World Cup has more viewer than any other sports event in the world. Even though only a handful of countries compete all the way through the finals, people all across the globe sit down and watch the same match on TV, no matter their location. Travel and tourism allows for the globalization of many things like the exchange of money, culture, ideas, and knowledge. There are countless options to make travel more affordable, including budget airlines and low rate hostels also. The Nation is an intergovernmental organization that promotes cooperation in many areas, including human rights, peace, and economic development. With one phone call or email, people from all across the global can be together or be in one place. So at the end, we can say that globalization has a neither a negative or positive aspect. It is depend on the society or the people, how they are related, how they are take it. The individual have a free choice to, and society has the ability to make the decision according to the best for the all member. The free market is important, but so the ability of governments to deal with problems when the free market is failed. Local democratic accountability it is important, but so is international agreement on problems that can only be solved with a corporation far beyond the direct control of individual citizenship. Globalization creates a materialistic culture where everybody is concerned with his own interests and benefit. Nobody is bothering about others. A culture of consumerism and pop culture affected other culture of the world that were having a glorious and best civilization and culture value, which were based on humanity, tolerance, world brotherhood, social justice, and egalitarianism. It is. This is my work citation. Thank you.
I'm asking, yes, how can be globalization linked with the cultural globalization?
Sorry.
How can the globalization linked with cultural globalization?
Yes, as a globalization is increasing, people from the local area transfer from cities. They are not going only with their l- luggage, but also they take their culture together. If Indian are going to another foreign world, they are going with their culture, so it's affected by that.
According to you, what is different between globalization and liberalism?
Globalization is about income. Liberalization is a benefit of the people. If there is a something for a rich people, then liberalization allow poor people also to have this thing. Globalization is for everybody for the same, like Geo, everybody has the same price of this card. But in liberalization, according to me, there are some benefit for poor or rich people, according to me.